I have something right here that you guys are gonna wanna see. It is the CP4 pump out of my 2011 LML Duramax with roughly 175,000 miles. Now, I don't really know the history of the truck. Only thing I know is that it came with a fast fuel system or fast lift pump, and I believe it was like a tow tune. Still had the CP4 pump. Currently in the process of doing a CP3 conversion on my LML Duramax. I'm gonna talk to you guys more about the importance of CP3 conversion, why people do it, and some of the benefits. But before we get to that point, let's go ahead and see the fuel pressure regulator and check out the shape / the condition the CP4 pump was in. Doing the CP3 conversion, I did not have a failure with this truck. I'm doing it as more of a preventative maintenance. I know a lot of people do the CP3 conversion after it fails. Not that it will fail, but with my luck, I feel like it will. And the amount of work that I'm doing just made sense to kind of swap it while I'm at it. I'm gonna look at my fuel pressure regulator, and if there's any kind of metal shavings, it's not really a good sign. If there's a lot, even though the pump didn't fail, nothing happened to the truck, replacing the injectors and the fuel lines, that is something that I would have to consider before finishing up the CP3 conversion. I'm gonna show you guys some pictures and clips of my last 2011 LML Duramax and of the fuel pressure regulator that we took out of that truck. And that truck roughly had about the same amount of mileage. I think I had about 175,000 miles. Finally got the CP4 pump out. Go ahead.
There's CP3. So the big difference, these two pumps, besides the fact this one weighs like probably 20 pounds and this is like maybe 15, is this one's got 3 different pistons in it that pressurize the fuel, and this one's only got 2. So this one can move a lot more fuel.
All right, more ponies. Moment of truth. Good job this pump did. Shavings, huh?
A little bit on the screen right there, but that's exactly what a screen's job is.
Oh yeah. $177,000 miles on this. I'm glad I did it. So as you guys saw, that fuel pressure regulator, it did have a little bit of like debris and a little bit of metal. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one and see how this one looks. All right, let's see if we can zoom in. This fuel pressure regulator is very, very clean. There's no debris whatsoever. Let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit better. There we go. And look at that. No metal shavings. My CP4 was in a great... Alright, now that we've taken a look at my CP4 pump, I want to give you guys a little bit of information and knowledge behind it. Those of you guys that have a Duramax, you guys would know that CP4 was first introduced in 2011, starting with the LML Duramax, and it made it all the way through 2016. And then in 2017 and up, the L5P Duramax got rid of the CP4 pump. And as far as Fords go, I believe 2011 and present 6.7 Power Strokes all run CP4 pump. Cummins wise, 2019 they started using the CP4 pump. I think in 2021 they realized that the CP4 pumps were failing. So huge shout out to Cummins Ram for actually doing a recall, and they started doing CP3 conversions at no cost to the customers who purchased their Cummins with the CP4 pump. That's something that GM could learn a lot from. Now let's talk about the reason for the CP4 pump. Why did GM and other manufacturers start using this pump if it's so bad? GM started using the CP4 pump in 2011 to meet strict emissions regulations and to improve fuel efficiency. The CP4 pump was designed to provide higher injection pressures and more precise fuel delivery, resulting in cleaner combustion and reduced emissions. 2011, when the CP4 was first introduced, that's when DEF was first introduced as well. So to meet stricter regulations from the EPA, at the time, CP4 was the ideal pump for them to use. They had no idea that this was going to be a huge problem. Causes of CP4 failure. CP4 is widely used in Europe with no trouble, but one potential contribution factor in the US is the ultra sulfur diesel. It is better for the environment, but unfortunately offers less lubricity than its predecessor. CP4 pump uses fuel as lubricant. The lack of lubrication can increase the amount of friction on the internal metal parts, such as the drive cam and the roller lifter, on those two surfaces that are touching, and causes the CP4 to quickly self-destruct. That is the main cause of the CP4 failure. Lack of lubricity, getting debris, and sometimes even getting water in your fuel will cause all of it. What are some preventative maintenance? If you have an LML Duramax, whether it's tuned or stock, get you a lift pump. It's available on JW Motorsports Co. We have AirDog 5G available on our website. Get your lift pump because it is going to, one, filter out all the debris better than a stock filter. Also has a water separator. It's gonna eliminate water getting into the pump as well, which is a contribution making the CP4 blow up. And it's also gonna help deliver the fuel to your pump so the pump doesn't have to struggle. Now, if your truck is tuned and it's demanding more fuel because you're running a higher horsepower tune, you definitely need a lift pump because you don't want to starve the fuel. Also, on top of the lift pump, use fuel additives for lubricity. I personally use Hot Shot Secrets, EDT. I use that every time I fuel up the truck. And I use the Diesel Extreme every time I do an oil change. So about every 5,000 miles just to clean everything out. But what EDT does is not only does it boost the cetane level to where it brings the worst possible fuel quality up to the standard, but it also adds lubricity, reduces the chance of the metal on metal contact for the CP4 pump. Those are some of the preventative maintenance. I can't 100% say that will prevent it. I've known tons of LMLs without a lift pump and without using fuel additives that don't have any issues. It's really not that big of a deal, but it is big enough that it is concerning, if that makes any sense. So let me know in the comments below if you have an LML Duramax. How many miles do you have? Do you plan on doing a CP3 conversion, or have you done a CP3 conversion? Personally, I know a lot of the LML Duramaxes that I know here locally all have the CP3 conversion done. A couple of them because the CP4 failed. A couple was like preventative maintenance. Our good friend Devin has done a CP3 conversion on his LML Duramax, and his was solely because of preventative maintenance reason. He didn't want his CP4 pump blowing up at all. He also tows his camper. He didn't want to risk his pump blowing up thousands of miles away from home. But yeah, as far as my CP4 pump goes, it was relatively clean. And if you look in here, it's fairly clean as well. So this CP4 pump was good. I guess the fact that it had a fast lift pump did help. I personally started using EDT since day one I picked this truck up, but I really don't know how the previous owner treated it. I'm assuming they probably use fuel additives too, but I have no way of knowing. This pump was in pretty good shape. This fuel pressure regulator is clean. While doing the CP3 conversion, I really just wanted to show you guys the condition of my CP4 pump, because that is something that I was curious about, so I figured you guys would be curious about it too. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Along with the CP3 conversion, we are going to be doing Ryan's 64mm turbo with a 9 blade.